Let's talk briefly about voting. Republicans are still reluctant to vote by mail. Republicans prefer to vote the way the rest of the world does, which is that you show up on election day, you vote in person. Is that going to be an obstacle for the Trump campaign and for Republicans around the country?
Look, I hope not. I mean, the safest way to vote is in person. Have it shortened period of time so it makes it much more. And if you have a photo ID, those are the requirements that really matter. Other countries do it, and other countries do. They use data from your eye, your pupils, and fingerprints, all the stuff we should be using, biometric stuff. And we have elections all over this country that are not safe, that they're not secure. And if you're using mail-in ballots that you send out to everybody, there's no way you would know who's sending them in. We can't know. That's when they say, when in Georgia they said, or Arizona they said, you can't prove that there was fraud. Of course you can't. They were mailed to everybody. Anybody can fill it. No signature verification. That is not a way to hold an election and have confidence that we have real elections in this country.
Texas has been very aggressive in using the courts to go after some of the Biden administration policies that you've led the way in some of the issues like transgenderism and so forth. Why do we not see more Republican attorneys general in other states going after some of these issues? And in particular, since Democrats have used lawfare to go after President Trump in New York and Georgia, why don't we see more Republican attorneys general going after the Biden family? They must have business connections to various states where Republicans govern somewhere. So why don't we see that?
So different question. So the reason you don't see a lot of attorney generals, I think there is some fear of lawfare being used against them. I've been very aggressive. I've sued Biden over 80 times. And look what happened to me. They tried to impeach me. They've tried to prosecute me. They've tried to go after me federally. There's been no break from this since I got into office and I started suing Obama and then Biden. They start coming after me with lawfare just like they have President Trump. I probably have as many things going on as he does. And I think a lot of attorney generals are like, whoa, I'll speak out, but I don't want to be caught up in that stuff. There's a risk to it because of the tactics that the other side is using. And your next question was, what was the next question?
Why don't we see a more aggressive prosecutorial stance? And
a lot of people don't understand this. A lot of attorney generals don't have prosecutorial authority. I had it for voter fraud. It was destroyed by one of our courts that we're trying to take back. But I don't have original jurisdiction. I have to get a referral from a DA, and no liberal Soros DA, which we have a lot of in the big cities. Austin, Travis County, we have Bexar County, which is San Antonio, we have Houston, we have Dallas. All the big counties are controlled by Soros, and so, it's those guys are not going to prosecute, and so it's an easy win for the Democrats. They know they can get away with it, and in other states like New York, obviously they're not going to prosecute Joe Biden for committing crime. So I can't prosecute. I'm not allowed to by law. Now, if our legislature would change that, which they should, because right now Soros controls the deal and controls whether prosecutions occur. That should not be the way it is in Texas, but that is the way it is in Texas, and I know it's that way in many other states as well.
You mentioned that it does look like Trump has the momentum to win. He's going to inherit a mess, as Joe Biden likes to say. Of course, Joe Biden inherited low inflation and a growing economy and so forth. But
and no problems overseas.
Right, and
no,
Trump really is going to get a mess. You've got the war in the Middle East, you've got Russia and Ukraine, you've got inflation higher than it should be. It has come down a little bit, but it's a slow-rolling economic disaster as people have to refinance for homes and businesses. So how is Trump going to turn it around? Is he dealing with a much greater challenge than he had faced in his first term?
Absolutely. It's gotten worse. We haven't had a worse president. He's right about that. We haven't had a worse president than Joe Biden. And I think obviously pushed by people behind him because we know that Joe Biden doesn't know what's going on. So clearly they used him as the face. He didn't know what was going on, and they've created a disaster, and I think they've done it on purpose. You can't be this bad accidentally. You can't create a border crisis. They had to dismantle an entire federal system of protecting the border. They did it on purpose. You had to spend a lot of money to get to the inflation that they got to, and you had to do some very troubling things overseas to create all this havoc overseas. It's not some accident. These are the people that have been pushing this behind the scenes, whether it's Obama or at least people associated with them. This is the world they want.
Can the border be fixed? Can it be secured? And can people who came here illegally during the Biden administration be returned to their countries of origin?
If it has to be fixed, because without secure borders, without a citizenship program that makes sense, you're not a country. If you're just an open border, you are not a country, and no country does that. We are an exception that we've created an open border, and that wasn't done legally. It was done unconstitutionally. It was done in violation of caring about the American people, and we lost children through fentanyl overdoses. We've had sex trafficking. We've had lots of crime. We're going to continue to deal with the cartels having all this money that they can now spend to build a network into this country all over the place. And the Biden administration, the people behind him are like, yeah, we want that. We want to destabilize America. That's why we want Soros DAs. We don't want this country to do well because they don't deserve it. That's their view.